make just a couple of comments on that, and none of which will be able to be proven out for all the again economists in the room. I was an economics major in college, so this is kind of like this is the thesis. I'll put a stake in the ground. We'll see how that turns out a year from now or so. There's a couple of fundamental sociological things about travel, business travel, that we should talk about. The first is our spouses want us to travel. They're ready to get back to their normal lives. And once there is a safe manner in which to do so, everybody, will feel like, okay, let's go back to, to doing what feels more normal. So that's kind of A. Number two is there's no competitive disadvantage today. If somebody that you're trying to do business with wants to, have you come in and meet, there's no competitive disadvantage to say, how about we do that virtually soon? We get plenty of people here. It's great. We can do that. But when your competitor all of a sudden shows up and they're willing to take that face-to-face meeting, that's a competitive disadvantage. There's an old United Airlines commercial, from many years ago that states exactly that. There's absolutely no replacement for that human interaction kind of face-to-face. Here's the third part. When asked the question, I just got back from 2 days of travel, and I came in early on a Monday for a meeting. I went and had a dinner, socially distant dinner with industry colleagues, and then had meetings yesterday. So I was asked. I said, was that for fun or was that for business? And my answer was yes. Because isn't that why we travel, right? And we connect that. Now, we all want to go back to, oh my gosh, that time that I had to fly all the way across country for that lunch and then fly all the way back. But those are anomalies, right? Essentially what we do is we create these relationships by being together. We have a meal together. We meet, we spend time. And that's kind of how we go and we create our businesses. I think you can also look no further to what online education and the impact of that has had. For all of those that feel like we will be in a virtual world where you can create culture in your companies by doing this, how do our young leaders grow and develop without Ellie pulling, them aside and says, hey, where are you heading? Well, I'm going back to, my cube over here. Says, come step in this meeting. I want you to meet a couple of people, right? And that's how we all identify this talent. That's how we create culture in these companies. And so it feels really difficult right now where we're at with cases, that have gone up. But we also see the amount of cases, over the last month, drip dramatically with this vaccine. So I think we're on the edge and the cusp of getting back to a place where normalcy is there. And look, I mentioned about online education. 42% of students in Texas's largest school district failed at least one class in the first marking period of the fall, compared to 11% in a typical year. We have a real issue. And again, for all those folks that say, oh, online education will replace real education, I think, again, the same holds true as it relates to business and how we will continue to do business. I think there was one of the questions on the chat. Well, what about travel budgets? Like, that's the first thing to cut. I go back to the GFC. Remember, like if you went to a resort hotel, you were ostracized, right? And it's like, oh my God, how could you? And travel budgets were being slashed until people realized, my goodness, we have to get our people out on the road doing business. And that's the only way we can stay competitive.